Hello everyone, it's been a little bit. This is Jay High from Couch and Keyboard, and here I am again with another quarterly report for Melee. And a little bit late, but better late than never. And I'm trying to catch up on some stuff, and let's get into it. So, to start off, we have the bottom tier here, which is pretty packed. We have Axe, who got a Sunsei win. Dial M got an Aura win after previously losing at the pre-local. Did get a win at, what was it, Fight at the Museum. None got that RapMonster win, which is more and more valuable. Speaking of, Day Tripper have some local, I think at either a BMW, which is their Sunday kind of I mean, I might be mixing that up. But either way, a larger local, which I think is worth counting. Stiv, another Oregon player, did get a Salt win. Has a lot of losses, so I could see being near the bottom, but also beating Zoe and Daki and Commaster. So I think is worthy of being on this list. Panda with a Crudo win. 100 grand beating Salt at Camp Heartlands. Zamu, pretty solid. Pretty consistent, has a few good wins, Day Tripper preeminent, Slow King, stuff like that. I think people that got a win on some higher tiers as well as being consistent are kind of in here. And then we have the Slug Slayers, Inky at Creed, and then Fishbait and Panos at Altitude Sickness. Now, Fishbait was not super surprising. Fishbait is, I might be confusing Fishbait with Anchovy. But I'm pretty sure Fishbait is a Colorado peach that was top 60 previously. Not too crazy. And then, but in losers, Panos, which I think they were doubles partners. Panos is a pretty solid Falcon from the Philly area, I believe. And played Slug and loser top 32 and won. It was pretty crazy. And then Inky beating Slug in Chic Ices, which is not expected at all. And then RapMonster playing in losers against Slug. So Slug did not have a very good season, not on this list. But I still think it's impressive to get that Slug win, because Slug had crazy good season in the first time, especially with Out of the Blue. Preeminent, another solid Minnesota player, winning record on Ben, doing pretty good overall. Also has 2 Crudo wins. That's going to help a lot. Moth, Day Tripper, Zasa, Malachi, stuff like that. Faust, back with another good Chic win. Faust first getting on the map, beating J-Mook at Gamel a few years ago, something like that. Beating Crudo, Lucky and Chape, good there. Graves, trying to get out of the shadow of that slime loss, but beating Aura, Zoe, the weapon, Stiv, doing pretty well. Graves, I don't think it's Oregon. It's either BC or Washington. I think Washington. Zoe, still, in that pseudo-retirement stage, but still doing well. Let's see. Dial M, Stiv, Graves, Fizzwiggle, Chango. Solid there. Casey, winning record against Dial M and Region. Also doing pretty well, getting second at Camp Heartlands. Zamu, Ben, preeminent, Ultra, stuff like that. And then Ben, has preeminence been getting the better of Ben recently. But Ben has a Dial M win. And then also done pretty solidly as a whole. And now we have our next tier. This is some surprising faces, some familiar faces. Crudo could honestly go up a tier, but I feel like there's kind of a divide just because of losses. Crudo did get 2 RapMonster wins, kind of getting the get back from when RapMonster was farming him last year. So good stuff there. Also has Panda, 4 for Prey, Preeminent Ben, Agent, Lowercase Hero, Eddie Mexico, stuff like that. Does have some losses. I think also I forgot to include Dawson having a Crudo win. I might add that later. But yeah, and then we have the H-Box Slayers at Pat's house, Chape and S2J. Now, Chape had a bigger run, but also has more losses. So I think it kind of evens out. Chape beating H-Box, Khalid, Eddie Mexico, also getting multiple wins in Preeminent, beating Fiction at one point. So very good run there. I think getting 9th at Pat's house. Crazy run. SGJ didn't get us, or maybe they both got 9th. I forget. But in Losers Top 16, SGJ played Chape, or excuse me, played H-Box. Which Chape, shout outs to Nuzlocker. I actually, was in Chape's chat, and I thought he was retired, and he wasn't. Later beat H-Box. That's pretty cool. SUJ had a pretty quiet season. Pretty much just beat H-Box and dipped. So, yeah. And then the weapon, Elliott, had a very strong a season compared to what we've seen. Aura, Sunsei, Nun, Zoe, Graves, OG Kid, Polo, Daki. Very solid. Moth, we've seen Moth kind of be in, the upper echelon. Moth and Crudo both being in Florida, you can definitely benefit Moth just with the matchup there. Also beating Ginger and Dial M and OKP and Zanya and Mo, so good stuff there. Fiction. Fiction plays a lot of characters. I think Fiction is considered to be a Falco main, but I'm pretty sure it's been going Fox more in a lot of matchups, but can kind of switch back and forth. Let's see. Fiction has J-Mook win. I think that was at a local though. But Crudo, multiple weapon wins. Dark Gen X Bonfire 10. Went out to the Egg Dog House Party tournament once and did fine there. Hard to say depending on how much Fiction travels, because there's at one point he was doing great in region but just never traveled outside of the region. So having a SoCal, major-ish with Pat's house is definitely helpful. Sunsei definitely falling off a little bit, just with having that amazing Genesis run. Has some losses, but still did good, beating Aura, Fiction, Dawson, Lowercase Hero, etc. And then Ultra. I was not expecting Ultra to be on this list. I've seen Ultra in bracket before, but I believe in Colorado. Has winning records on KC and Dial M recently. Also beating each of the Oregon, top 2 right now, with Salt and Aura. Also beating Zoe. So kind of, getting a look against Oregon. So good stuff there. KJH, Ben, Slow King, OG Kid, Graves. Could honestly be on the higher end of this tier. But either way, really good stuff. This is like, I think there's 11 above this. So this is top 20. So Ultra having a really good season to be in top 20 contention for the quarter. Next we have a pretty solid tier here. Don't let I know this is okay, if you do S, A, B, C, D, calling these players B tier might be a little bit of an insult. I just think there's just a divide, and this is where I chose to divide it. I'll start bottom to top. Magi, originally I didn't have, I had next to Crudo, but I think is decent enough just because of the consistency. Did pretty well in Oregon, beating Salt twice, later losing to Salt, but doing very well at, I think it was an Egg Dog House Party, and then Fight at the Museum. Sunsei, Dawson, Dark Gen X, Weapon, Daki, Anchovy, really solid there. Just being able to, they kind of go back and forth. But yeah, didn't have an amazing full house, but still did fine there. And yeah, I think it's enough to be slightly above Crudo, but it's pretty close. J-Mook, I also had lower at first, but then it's okay, I think that I kind of underrated the Aura wins, because those were important. J-Mook having a Salt win, Aura twice, Crudo twice, Sunsei none, 3 on Fiction, Spark, Casey, Dawson, Preeminent. And the losses are a lot of them, but they're not that bad. Zane, HBox, Wizzy, Moki, Josh Man. That was so Zane, HBox, Moki, Josh Man were 4 of the top 5, and then Wizzy's kind of gotten up there. Salts, that's not a crazy loss, and then Fiction. They've traded back and forth at locals in SoCal all the time. That's not bad at all. And so I think that Jmook is doing pretty solid. Not quite as good as the as Genesis and all that, but still good. And you don't have these crazy like out of nowhere losses. Like these are pretty standard losses, I think. So it's more consistent there. And then we have RapMonster, shout outs, doing a pretty good job. I think while like getting 9th at Full House was disappointing, did get 2nd at Pat's House. Like doing pretty good. Creed was a bit of an underperformance. 5th at Altitude Sickness. It was up and down. But like getting these wins on the board was great. That Wizzy win, fantastic. Like for the matchup purposes, really good. Did not quite get on the board versus Salt. Patchwork was a bit of a heartbreaker there, but still really good. 2 Moki wins. That's really impressive. Getting that, getting to grand finals. Did lose to Zane at Pass House, but I think that is definitely not bad. It was like, okay, Zane is getting better at the matchup. RapMonster maybe a little bit tired. I think overall it was like, don't be like, yeah, he could have won. That would have been cool, but Zane played great, and you gotta give credit there. And yeah, Sunsei, Slug, he is just beating Slug so often, it's crazy. Beating Aura, Aklo, Crudo, Moth, Ginger, like just having a lot of consistency. The worst losses being None and Day Tripper in region. But outside of that, I mean, like Crudo and Aura, like the Aura RapMonster rivalry that's blooming is really cool. And I think it kind of like both of them are really, really good. It's not bad for either of them to lose to each other. And speaking of, we have Aura, and while Aura is still kind of on the losing ends, I have it being 14-5 in Salt's favor. I don't think it's that bad. And I know some people don't count locals. Like, I think that you can take them with a grain of salt. I think that, like, no pun intended. But, like, okay, if Aura is taking some sets against Salt, like, that's a good thing. I think that should be, definitely something that's a positive, because go to your locals. But Aura also, besides that, got a Moki win, got 2 RapMonster wins, Axe, Moth, Meds, None, Dawson, Dark Gen X, Dial M, etc. So even if you take out the local stuff with Salt, still very good. And yeah, so I think that Aura is definitely kind of in like this top 10 area. While, didn't quite get a ton of good wins, that Moki win, I'd say is definitely, it stands out, I think. So good stuff there. And we have Salt, who goes to a lot of events, getting Moki, 2 on Josh Man, Jmook, RapMonster, 14 on Aura, Axe, Magi, Fiction. I think that Wizrobe and Salt is kind of close. Like it kind of depends on your argument, I think. Because Salt went to more, won more, lost more. I'm gonna give it to Wizrobe slightly just because of that top win. But I mean, Salt did very good. Did show a little bit of weakness against Josh Man, which has previously been a good matchup. But I think that's more compliment to Josh Man than taken away from Salt. Wizrobe has that Zane win. I think that's very important. Very, very good. Also wins on Aura, Sunsei, Jmook, Axe, Dark Gen X. Worst loss being RapMonster. Not bad at all. Again, also Josh Man was kind of going on a tear, beating these Falcons that previously Fox Falcon was a rough matchup for him. Moki, I think, is slightly below Josh Man. Does have 2 Wizzy wins, 2 Salt wins, which the Foxes here both beat the Falcons pretty good. It went back and forth a little, but like generally it was pretty Fox favored, I think. And Moki has been more on top of that. I think maybe if you consider it being like maybe some Nun experience, although I don't think they played a ton coming up. Like Nun definitely was like better, quicker than Moki was, but you know, inevitably that's gonna help. Josh Man not having quite as much Falcon, kind of upbringing, I don't think, but doing very well. Moki does have two Jmook wins: Salt, Sunsei Magi, Kadoran, S2J Faust. That Aura loss isn't amazing. I think that Josh Man has a better top win in H-Box and has fewer losses with like Zane, H-Box, Moki, Salt. So I think that Josh Man is slightly above Moki here, this is becoming a pretty familiar top part. Wizrobe kind of stomping back. What was with the puns, man? Stomp, come on. But I think that's like this tier right here. Maybe you move Magi down, maybe you move Crudo up. But either way, like this is a very solid tier. I have like 3 through 11 kind of in this tier. Or excuse me, 4 through 11. Top 3, I think, is pretty... It's amazing how consistent the top 3 has been in terms of rankings. Like, yeah, they definitely drop stuff, but the consistency is there. Now, I could see Joshman being on this tier or H-Box not being above Joshman. It's difficult. I think that H-Box being Cody's only loss is a big deal. And like, yeah, you could say it was one tournament. It wasn't invitational, so there was more sets going on. Zane had 2 options, 2 chances, didn't get either of them against Cody. And so we have H-Box getting wins on Cody, Wizrobe, Salt, 2 on Joshman, Moki, 3 on RapMonster, 3 on 3 on Jmook, 2 on Crudo, Aklo, Axe, Magi, and so on. And having, not bad losses besides Pat's House. Cody, Zane, Joshman. I think that if you get rid of Pat's House, Zane might not be above H-Box here. But I think because of Pat's House, which, I mean, Zane won it, so that's definitely a huge thing. But Zane, winning 2 different events, not having quite as many wins, but, I mean, doing very well. H-Box, Wizzy, Moki, Joshman twice, Jmook 3 times, RapMonster twice, Nun, Kadoran, Meds, OG Kid, and then only having 2 losses to Cody and 1 to Wizzy. So I think it's pretty solidly Zane above H-Box here, but it's close, and I think that they are closer to each other than to Cody. Now, I could see it being to where if you're having it be more additive, to where Zane won 2 events, Cody won 1. Again, I think an invitational guaranteeing more sets means a little bit more, it's more, not that it's harder necessarily, there's an argument there, but it counts more in terms of like valuable sets. Cody, having 2 chances at Zane, which I think should have been seeded differently, but whatever. It happens. RapMonster, Saucy Main, 2 on Moki, 2 on H-Box. Did have that H-Box loss, but still won it all in grand finals. So I do think that Cody is, if you don't have an attendance requirement, I think Cody is number 1 for this quarter. But I think that, this top 3, it's impressive, this top 3. You can move these closer depending on what you count. I think that H-Box being Cody's only loss kind of helps H-Box kind of stay up here. If not, if it was like a clean sweep from Cody, I think H-Box maybe even goes down here, and even maybe below Joshman. That'd be tough. But I think that win definitely carried H-Box very far. And so, yeah, I think that, this top 5 is pretty familiar. And then we have Wizrobe and Salt, who have been in the top 10 before. RapMonster getting up there. So I think Aura hasn't been top 10 before. Jmook definitely has. Magi, if this were to be, is number 11 here. Crudo has been top 10. I think it's interesting. There's a bunch of players that didn't really have anything going on. Most notably, we have Triff, Amsa, SDJ, Swift, Junebug, Nikki. Slug entered 2 events, but didn't do that great at either of them. You have like Zasa and Sermaris had pretty solid quarter 1s. 404 Cray, Daniel, Spark. Crike, J-Chu. Ginger did okay, but I don't think got enough wins to necessarily be considered here. Kim and Zuppy. OKP was close to being on here. I think that, especially, hearing what OKP did in July, would definitely be back on here. But either way, I thought it was a cool season. I kind of got a little bit burnt out from doing some of my stuff, but April was so fun. Like that first half of this quarter with Full House and Pat's house, and then I remember I was at a wedding watching Out Through Sickness. Not during the ceremony or anything. It was like cocktail hour, and I was just chilling. But that was a cool tournament. Battle of BC, it wasn't very didn't have very many entrants, but it was still pretty good. And then I remember it was Creed and Fight Museum are the same weekend. Multiple house parties for Egg Dog, Patchwork, Camp Heartlands, Vacation Land, like a bunch of really good events. And so even if you don't have if you don't have all of these top 3 in attendance, that doesn't mean it's going to be a bad event. Pat's house was notably missing Cody, and was a really cool event to have right after Full House Siege. So I love this quarter. It was great, and I'm definitely going to be on top of it for quarter 3. I'm also probably going to do a Gommel preview, so keep your eyes out for that. And I try to make it go a little bit less rambly this time, so let me know how you think it went. Peace out.